Hey everyone, welcome to this part two for our Streamlit workshop that we had yesterday. I hope everyone is doing great and already had the opportunity to be with other of MLH coaches and perhaps attend the Wikipedia Races event that was going on a bit earlier. We also had some of other technical streams. Always remember to register on the link that I'm going to send to you in order to check in for today's workshop. And so you will be, participating to obtain points. Yep, never forget to register, as this is the way that we will know that you attended our live streams and you will be checking in to obtain potential swag for the weekend. So yesterday we had a really productive workshop where we basically learned the basics about Streamlit and how it integrates with MongoDB in a very easy and seamless way. And today we're going to dive deep a little bit more in the backend. We're not going to focus so much on making our dashboard pretty. Rather, we're going to focus on making it, functional. As you remember, yesterday we left some hard coded, pieces of information, and today we will be replacing that and making it into integrated into our MongoDB database. And after we finish that, we're also going to create an additional page, which we will be creating using open source models from Hugging Face or Llama Index to generate AI competitions. And we're also going to go real quick through the basics, and then we're going to do it into our dashboard. And the last part of our stream will focus on deploying our application into the Streamlit cloud so everyone can have a really nice dashboard to show off to your friends and anyone who you want to present your dashboard with. So let's begin. I'll start sharing my screen, and I will also go ahead and show you the repo that we were working yesterday. For some of you that were not able to attend the stream that we had yesterday, I'm going to share the repository in the chat so you can go ahead and clone my repo, or you can also fork it and you can see, all the changes and things that we were coding yesterday. So let's start. I'll start by going into GitHub. Let me just, we're going into our repository, and I'm going to share this link with you in a second. So it's Recitebook Data Week, and it is basically a recitebook, the one that we were building yesterday. Just give me a sec, and I'll share it with you on the chat so you can actually see the project, and you can also go ahead and clone it. You can fork it. Please don't make pull requests, or you can do them if you want, but I will not be accepting them during the stream. Always remember that if you have any questions while we're going through it, or you get stuck in a specific part, you can always send a message on the chat and I'll get to you. So as we can see, yesterday I told you that I will be making some really quick modifications specifically for the UI. If we see the dashboard that we built yesterday, it was not very well structured and it was still missing to add some images, make it more appealable for users. So I took some of my time, like 25-30 minutes, to make it a little bit more pretty for you to see today, and you can actually base into that information. So we're going to go back to our code. I'm just going to give you a few minutes for the ones that are like opening up their Visual Studio or perhaps are cloning the repo before starting to explain new information. Just as a recap about what we saw yesterday, We are basically creating an Streamlit app using Python completely. We have different folders over here. We have our assets folder where we have all of our images. We also have the pages folder that it's basically each of our different pages that we have in our dashboard. Then we have the main page, which is basically, the face of our web app. And finally, we have our Mongo connection test script, which is the one that we ran yesterday that MongoDB, just laid out. A quick example, just to verify that our cluster is running correctly and that we're not encountering any issues, with the internet connection or perhaps the IP address that MongoDB has. Yep, and I also explained some basic concepts about the configuration files that Streamlit has for us. And this is for you, and that you have to create a .streamlit folder, and then inside of there, you have to create a secrets.toml type of file. And inside there, we have also just created a random password. You are able to see it too. It's nothing secret. At least I don't mind you accessing specifically that database. I mean, you can go ahead and even access it if you want. Just remember that we have to add this folder into our gitignore file. Yesterday, I copy pasted a gitignore template online. You can go ahead and just search gitignore template for Python. Just copy paste the template from GitHub into here, and then I just basically added the project directory for .streamlit. So we are basically ignoring this, and we're not pushing this into our repo. So I see that I have some changes in here. Perhaps I will discard that later. Let me see. Yeah, I want to commit it. Skip chars. I'll just going to clear my working directory, and perhaps I will get a conflict because I was also pushing it yesterday. Let's see. Um, Yep, I'm getting some merge errors. Don't worry. For your case, you will only have to run, git fetch into into the my repository that you clone, and it will not give any issues for you. In my case, I will have to accept the incoming. Well, this one doesn't exist anymore, and I'll just run a git fetch in order to update. Oh, it is already update. Let's just check if there is something else that we have to bring from our repository. Go ahead and clone the repo, or go ahead and open up the repo that we were creating yesterday. As we can see, there are very few modifications. Actually, I just changed the names of our pages so they are nice and they have a small emoji before the name. I also added, uppercase, so it is like more standardized. I also added different images that are actually, images loaded from the internet, because remember yesterday I was having issues to upload images. I'm not sure why was that, but yeah, we found a solution in there. I also created a grid layout for our recipes that we were doing, and I also added a footer so we can see that it was created using Streamlit. This is the same. This was the main formulary that we were creating yesterday. I also added a progress bar that we're going to see in a while, and I'll explain it to you in case you also want to implement that into your dashboard. And yeah, yesterday we also had the submit button, which is already in here. We also had the search page where users could search for their recipes. We had, different filters. We also had our search query, and we basically hard coded, the results that our search query will be, outputting into our dashboard. So let's start running this. I'll create a new terminal, but it is not loading. My terminal is not loading, so I'll just wait a sec till it is loading. Perhaps I have so many tabs and many things running at the same time, but it doesn't matter. I'm sure it will be solved in a second. And if it is not solved, then we will just continue and I will run it later, or perhaps I will deploy it beforehand so you can actually see, the result while we're working on it. So the first thing that we're going to do on this part of the stream, this is actually new things that you will start implementing. I'm sure most of you worked yesterday, perhaps on your dashboard, and already added, different front end learning things that you learned yesterday. And I will be very glad that by the end of this session, we already had, everyone will be able to publish their dashboard into a Streamlit cloud and perhaps share it with all of the people who are here today on this live session. Currently, it's not loading, so I'll just close my VS Code. Well, I will create a new window and I'll see if that solves the issue for not loading the terminal, because I really need the terminal to open our project and run it on the web browser as we were seeing yesterday. So I think it was on downloads. I'm not sure if it's this one. Let's see. Yep, it's this one. So recite book. It goes and let me create a new one. It's not working. Let's see if by creating another one. It's basically not giving me anything in here. If I type, it doesn't work. Okay, well, I'll give it a while and I'll go back to MongoDB. So everyone, please, let's go to the MongoDB cluster that we were opening yesterday. As I will remember to you, yesterday we created a free account using our emails in MongoDB. And I use a new Google account in order to set everything up as you were doing it with me. And we still have to do some configuration before actually making queries to our database. And we also have to explain, brief concepts about MongoDB, so you get, a broader a broader understanding on what MongoDB is for and what are some example projects that you can build with Mongo. On my personal opinion, I basically use MongoDB as my default database. It is always easier and so fast to set up in comparison to other alternatives that you can find on the web. So once you log into Mongo, remember, we are seeing this dashboard. It has many things that are related to our different databases. In this case, as we are on the free plan, we only have access, to limited space and limited creation of clusters. So on the left side, we have, the toolbar, and we're going to go ahead and click on clusters. And in here, you will be basically seeing, the cluster that we created yesterday. So for my case, I named cluster 0. And for your case, you might have a different name, perhaps because you decided, to write a different name. And we can see that in here, I already was performing some test activities. So I should have some, something on my graphs. But for your case, yesterday, we only did some ping testing. So you should have at least one peak. Yep. So right now, what we're going to do is that I'm going to go back and click on connect. Yesterday, we also clicked on this button in order to configure our drivers because we were going to use Python, and we are using Python still. And remember that we copy pasted this string URL, which is really important to make all the connection. And I explained to you that it is a very sensitive piece of information that you want to have. You don't want to have it public. So that's why we included it on the secrets file from our Streamlit page. Yeah. But one thing that we didn't set up, and I don't know if some of you remember, that on the first step, it said something related to my IP location. So right now, as a user, as me, Jocelyn, being a user of my database, I am the only person on my computer that can have access to this cluster 0. Why? Because I only have that IP address added into the cluster 0, and only my computer can access to it, which is basically the best practice that you might want to have. But sometimes, when we're working on a hackathon project or in a group project, you might not be very focused, onto the security, because you just want to implement your project and make it available for everyone. And it's totally fine. That is what I always do. And I will show you how to open this cluster for everyone to be able to make requests. And, so when you publish it into a Streamlit dashboard, anyone can use your application. So we're going to go into network access over here in the security section. We have a banner that says network access. So we're going to click into there. And in here, instead of seeing this 000, you should see your IP address, or you should be receiving a warning message that, hey, you only have your IP addresses added. Perhaps you want to update it to a more general one. So you're going to go ahead and click on edit. You can click edit on any of them. Just click on one. And then you're going to click on this button that says add current IP. No, you should see another button that says allow access from anywhere, or something related to giving access at any location. You will go and click into that button. Let me check if I change it into the original one. Let's just wait a second. And I'll click on edit, and now I get the same message that you should be getting that says allow access from anywhere. You're going to click on there, and then you're going to click on confirm. And it will take a while while it's loading. And once you see that it has a green dot that says active, then we should be good to go. And now your cluster will be able to receive queries from any IP address. So, for example, if I want to test your dashboard and I'm located in Mexico, I won't have any issue to access to your cluster, and I will be able to access your application. So this is taking a while. You can leave it like that. It is more like a background process. It should be ready when we actually make queries into our application. Let me just check. The terminal is still not working. All right, let me close VS Code again. And I'll create a new. Let me open the folder again and see if that solves it. And if not, I'll just open a GitHub code space and we can work from there, so we don't get more delayed in this. Let me make this bigger so you can actually see what I'm coding. Let's wait a minute, click close on all of this stuff over here. So selected allow access from anywhere into your MongoDB cluster. And you should already have your credentials. Let's see if this works. In the meantime, I will be opening a Google code space. So I will be doing both things in case my local workspace doesn't work. I think, yeah, we will have the same things from GitHub code spaces. So for some of you that are not familiarized with GitHub code spaces, it is just basically having like VS Code on the web, and you can open any repository that you want on your web browser. It is actually really easy because you don't even need to clone the repo in order to open it, and you will already have all of your extensions, configured. So code spaces, and then I actually have one, so I will click on my code space, or in case you don't have one, you can click on create new code space. Just a heads up over here, you don't have to be doing this right now. I'm just doing this because my terminal is not working on locally, so I'll just go for the web browser option so we can move forward into coding the Mongo queries. Yep, so it's working here. Code Spaces has never let me down. It is always my go-to alternative when perhaps my computer is kind of laggy sometimes, and Code Spaces can even be open on the iPad. So sometimes you have to finish, like a school project or something that you didn't get to finish when you were at your house. So you can just enter it from your iPad and you will basically have all of the tools that you have in your computer, which is, at least for me, it is pretty amazing. So right now it is basically just downloading all of the extensions that I have on my local VS Code, because it is just basically a copy of my VS Code. Yep, so let's just give it a while. Always remember that you can ask me any questions that you have on the chat. I already posted the GitHub repo that we will be working on the chat in case you want to see it, in case you want to run it too. It is perfectly valid. You can base yourself from there in order to build your project. And right now, I'll take the time while it is loading in here to give you the basic introduction about how we will be publishing our information into MongoDB. So we will go back to our clusters in here. So I'll click on clusters, and then I have cluster 0. I will go and click on browse collections. So basically, MongoDB, what it's so special about non-relational databases is that all of our databases that we have on this cluster are called collections. So a database can have, multiple collections. As comparison from SQL, in SQL we have, tables, and we have, inner and outer joins, and we have attributes, and we just access the information by the concept of tables. And in MongoDB and non-relational databases, they are called collections. So all of you should be seeing this collection that it's called sample MFLIX. And this is basically, the example that MongoDB displays for new users who want to perhaps need, like a default database in order to test their projects. So each of these elements that we are seeing over here in this list, for example, users, theaters, sessions, movies, all of that are different collections that we have on this database. So if we click, for example, in one, it should load all of the elements that it have on the comments collection. I'll just give it a while so we can actually, see how the information is being fetched. So it has already loaded, and we can see that each collection has an item or an element or an object, as you can, identify it. So each object has a specific ID, and it has different fields that the user decides to create. So perhaps, I don't know, I decided to create this collection and add a name, an email. I also decided to add a date. So my object of comments will have all of these attributes. So for some of you who are already familiarized with object-oriented programming, it is basically, creating different objects and adding different attributes. And well, I have different objects in here, and I also have different attributes on my different sections. And in here, we can actually make queries. I believe queries in MongoDB are much more understandable than those in SQL for some of you who have already, tested out both of these types of databases. And something that I really like about MongoDB is that it allows you to index information. So let's imagine that we have, like a really large data sets with millions of information, and we want to search it quickly. If we just leave it like this, like a general query, so we can load like all of our fields all at once, it will take a long time to actually fetch our query. So for that, we create indexes in order to make our search much more efficient. So let's see if our GitHub code spaces is ready. So yeah, I think we are good to go now. Let me test terminal. It is working apparently. I will just run git fetch. It is a bit laggy still. Let's see if it works. Oh, it actually brought me some things that we had on our repo that were not on the code space. So I basically run git fetch, and then I'll just run git pull. And now we have all of the things that we had before. So I'll just make my screen bigger so you can actually see what I'm doing over here. And I'm going to run our Streamlit dashboard. Remember that to run our Streamlit dashboard, it is Streamlit run, and then the name of the page that we want to run, in this case, is home.py. Oh, it is not found. So apparently I have to install Streamlit into my dashboard, into my code space, because apparently it is not installed. Let me check what color it appears. Streamlit. I think it's still, downloading some of the extensions that we have. I'll just give it a moment. We don't have to rush. So right now we have 3 things pending. We have the implementation with Mongo, we have the Llama index thing, and we also have to deploy. The deployment will take us max 15 minutes, I believe. Yeah, it would not be a long time. Let's see. Yeah, it is still loading. So as for now, we don't have to do anything else on our cluster. You can see that I already created this database. You don't have to create it right now. We will created it from our VS Code. So just ignore this. Like this is it doesn't. I will delete it. Like we don't need it. Yeah. Done. So I have the same as you should have right now. Let's see. Is this working now? Yeah, so extensions have not been loaded, and let's see if my local is actually working. No, it's not working either. Oh, I will click on reload window. So apparently it will run again. And I actually was thinking that for the Gen AI features that we will add to our dashboard, I'm not very sure of which Hugging Face models to use. So if you have any, a specific recommendation, you can drop it in the chat, and I will use that model, and we will see how to work through it together. Let's see. Now we should be good. Yeah, I think it will detect Streamlit now. I will just delete these pop-ups over here. Let's see. Let's run it again. Oh, I have to install it. So pip installs Streamlit. Nice. Yeah, we should probably also add our requirements file later on, because we will need it when we deploy our application. So now we can actually run our dashboard. Perfect. So as I am in, I have to click it manually. it should be faster for you. It is just because I am running it on a dashboard. So right now we are getting errors because apparently I don't have the image added, but once I add it, it shouldn't appear, because it says I will fix it in a second. In here, I'll just basically created, the dashboard that we had yesterday for our food options. Then we have the form that we were creating yesterday with the recipe name, ingredients, instructions, and I added progress bar. So once we are, typing like, I don't know, like dish one, and you complete this field, it actually advances to show you, like the progress that you have. And for the search bar, I left this the same and I added the different filters in here. So difficulty is now a drop down menu and the time is now a slider that you can basically configure right here, and you can click on search enchiladas, search, and it will just bring you the hard coded results that we had yesterday. So now, once we are able to run the dashboard that we were creating yesterday, I will go ahead and start with the second steps. That first, I will add the images that I have pending. So I will just go ahead and search for some Mexican food dish. I'll just download, like some images in order for us to use when we are trying to upload test images into our database. So I'm going to choose this one. And oh, I cannot save that. Okay, I can save that. This one. So I'll call it dish one. And then I'll download this and call it. Oh, that is my dog. If you are hearing some noises, my dog is trying to get out, apparently. Chispita, bit. She doesn't want to come. She's kind of angry right now. And I'll continue. Oh, she's coming. I'll introduce you to my dog in here. Yeah. So her name is Chispita, which is basically Little Sparkle in English. And she likes to be part of the streams sometimes. But sometimes she's just very lazy and likes to sleep, in the bed that it is over there. Apparently, she has her own bed. She is very, very special for me, and I love her very much. So yeah, that's Chispita, which is Little Sparkle in English. Just give me a moment so I can open my door so she can go and we can proceed. Perfect. So now Little Sparkle has gone. And let's continue downloading images. You should already have some in your computer that we will be using in a while. I will call this dish 3. Yep. So let's go back to our code, and now I'll load that images that we had into our code space. Nice. So let's start selecting this dish one. I'll also add the enchiladas over there. And let me slide them. Yep. So you should add all of your images on the assets folder, because then we will be using this route directory in order to refer that we are actually using these images. And perhaps you are seeing that the name of the images are like in a grayish color. That is because we have in our git ignore that we don't want to publish .jpg files. So I'll just delete this because I want my images to be uploaded into my repo. I mean, they are just like 4 images, so it is not like a lot of space that it will take up. So I'll rename this to a more, where is the rename? Yep, so I'll just call this dish 5 so we have, the same format. and I'll go to my pages. Where were they? I think, oh, it was a homepage, right? Yeah, it was a homepage. So in here we have assets, and I'm going to change this to dish2.jpg. Perfect. So that should be it for the image to load. I'll go back to my dashboard and reload this. Nice. So now we have the image. We also have, like a get started button that you click and you get, navigate to add recipe to share your culinary creations. And we also have like a grid where we have all of our feature recipes. I just basically added like the different sections that we have in our dashboard. Right now, we are missing one, that is the one where we will be implementing AI. But yeah, so now let's go ahead and create our Mongo functions. I'll just see if anyone has popped any questions in the chat. I think we are good to go. So let's go back and we will be starting with let me see what is better for us, the recipes page. So as you remember, we were basically hard coding the recipes dictionary into here, but we will not be doing that anymore. So you can go ahead and delete the samples recipe data that we had. So we will delete that. And now we have to add our MongoDB credentials. So for that, you can go ahead and copy paste them from the API folder, Mongo, and you can just copy paste all of this. I mean, later on, if we have time, we can create a function that returns, the URI. But for now, I'll just copy paste it as we are running a little bit behind on time. So I'll copy all of my credentials and I'll import the model. Oh well, yeah, Copilot's right. So I'll copy paste. I copy pasted the credentials, the URI, and now I will specify the name of my database and the name of my cluster. So it doesn't matter if you don't have your database or cluster created. In case it doesn't exist, MongoDB will automatically create a new database with the name that you specified. So it will be db equals to client. Yeah, recitebook. That is correct. And yeah, we will create a client later. And also collection, which is called recipes. Yeah, Copilot is correct, but I will turn it off because it is doing all of my work. Disable. Yep. If we need it later or I need help, I will ask you and then I will ask Copilot. But I'm pretty sure that won't happen. So after that, we basically have to create our client that we will be using. And our client is nothing more than MongoDB. So we can go ahead and create this beforehand. And we're going to go client equal to Mongo. But first, we have to import PyMongo. PyMongo import Mongo client. Nice. And this, you have to put it after your URI. So it will be over here. And we will basically call it Mongo client. And then it will receive the URI to authenticate itself. And I will install the PyMongo module because I don't have it installed in my code space, but you should have it installed because we did that yesterday. So pip install PyMongo. Good. So right now we already have the database that we will be using and creating, which is called recitebook. And then we have the collection that will be called recipes. Why? Because we will be adding a new recipe from the formulary that we basically created. Perfect. So now what we want to do is that we basically want to, just like show the recipes that we have available. So how can we do that? We have to make, a query in order to bring the recipes that we had. So before we had some hard-coded results that were in our dashboard, but right now we don't want to do that, and we want now to create our query. Wait, I think we are in the wrong page. This is the recipes. Let me go ahead and remember. Oh, let's reload this. Yeah, because I think we find not found, no secrets. Oh yeah, I have to create the secrets directory. Let me just do that real quick so we can go ahead. Secrets.dom, and then I'll copy paste it from my MongoDB that I had it earlier. So Mongo, and I will put it in here, and then I'll just reload this to see if it's working now. Let's see. Recipes is not defined. Oh yeah, that is because we are not running anything. But we will actually be working first on our formulary so we can start uploading. So leave the recipes page as it was. We will get to it later. But now we will move to the dish section. We are going to copy paste this again. Actually, all of this. Yep. Dish. Let's go to the top part and I'll paste it in the beginning. And then from Pi Mongo import Mongo client. And I don't remember the name of the library, so I'll just copy paste this from earlier. Perfect. So now we're good. We are already authenticated in there. We will going to search for our search button over here. Where is it? Send receipt. Yep, here we go. So what we want to do in here is that once we actually, like create, once we finish completing our formulary, we will have to send the information that we are going to give our users into the Mongo cluster, because we want to send that information into our database. And MongoDB basically accepts different kind of formats which you can send information, but for now we have to send it as a JSON format, as I will be sending different types of information, because if you remember, we have different elements such as the name of the recipe, we have the ingredients, we also have an image file upload, and we also have basically the numbers that we will be uploading for our recipe type name. So for that, we are basically, just give me a second to see if anyone has any questions. So no, we are good. So let's continue. So now our recipes, our dish already has information to upload, and we will go to the search section now, and we will paste the same information that we have in here. So I'll copy paste this again into our search query, and I'll paste it below in here. And perfect. So, oh, I'm missing to import the other model. Nice. So we're going to search for the search filters in here. So you can go ahead and delete this information that says example results. Why? Because we will be now actually displaying, the actual results that we have in our application. So yeah, I will just delete that and leave it like this. And what we'll be focusing here is basically creating our query. So for that, we don't want to hard code the query. So now we will create a query variable, and our query will be for now just basically empty, because that is something that the user will be basically uploading. So inside our if switch, we want to check the information that the user uploaded, and or type it, I'm sorry. So the user can type several things. They can type an ingredient, they can type a name, and we want to make sure that we are taking in any sort of information that it is valuable for us to actually filter. So for that, we're going to use a special query that it's the or function. And some of you who are familiarized with any programming language, you might know that when you use the or conditional, it basically means that it will be either something or another. So I basically want to say like, oh, if it contains like ingredient or if it contains like name, then I want to fetch that information. So once we have that, we are going to add the different fields that we want to make our query filter using the or function. And for that case, I want to include perhaps the name of my recipe. And remember that you need to use a JSON format for this. So our key is the name, and then that name will basically have a value. And this value will be whatever information is actually inside of my search query. So for that, we actually need to use the regex function from MongoDB in order to bring the information that we have on our searching query. So we will use regex, and the regex will be our search query, which is basically the text that the user wrote in our application. And we want to display any information that is present in our database. So for that, we're going to use the options function, which will be basically to display any information that is actually present. So we will use I, because we want to display anything that we can show to the user. And what else might be helpful? We might also want to query our database and filter it using the ingredients. So I'll copy paste this, and I'll just change our field to ingredients. And I'll leave the fields the same, because we basically want the same for both of our information. Good. So basically, that is all that we want to do for our queries. I mean, there is no other information that we need for our queries. And now the second part, after making the query, well, we want to display that information. So to do that, we basically want to use our query again, and we want to fetch our filtered information into our dashboard. So to do that, we have to fetch um, the recipes collection that we have on MongoDB. So we will fetch it as a list in Python. So we will call a list, and we want to do collection. So this is the collection that we were calling earlier, and our collection is this one. So it is recipes. So I'm just calling that variable over there. So we'll collections dot find, and we can see that we have many options in here. So right now, I want to find one specific or a set of a specific elements. So I will click on find, so it brings me out any potential query that is up there. So I will write query, because it is the query that I have in there. And then I'm going to type the different fields that I want to display in my query. So for that, I have to write it inside slashes. And we can see that in my database, I will have different fields according to my form that I created earlier. So in my form, I specified a recipe name, ingredients, instructions, cooking time, difficulty, and image. So I want to search and display all of the information of that object in my query. So I will go back into our search, and I will just say, okay, I want to display the ID, a specific of my element. And then I also want to display the name, perhaps. And then the name will be 1, because it will be empty. And then I also want to display the image, which will be 1, 2. And then I also want to display, oh, this should be in double quotes, should display ingredients, which also be 1. And then I think we also have instructions. Yep, we have instructions, which will, oh, I'm sorry, which will be basically 1, 2. And this will be just to display what we have. Let me check if I'm missing something. um no, it was not here. We also have cooking time and difficulty. Yep, so we also have to add that into our query. So it will be um cooking time, cook time, which will be 1. And then we also have difficulty, which will be 1. Perfect. So now we have our recipes list, hopefully fetched with all of the information that we have over there. And now we want to display our results. So for that, we have to find a way to display it into the front end. So first, I want to check if my recipes list has information. So it would just be basically if recipes, and then I want to search for information in that list, and I want to display it as markdown. So remember, yesterday we learned about Streamlit's markdown function that basically allows me to embed HTML into my Streamlit dashboard. So I will be using that to make it, a little bit more understandable. So I will write st markdown, and then inside in here I will write the elements from our Mongo collection. So again, we have our recipe. First I want to iterate inside here. So for recipe and recipes, good. So in the recipe we have name, we have ingredients, and we have all of that information. So first I want to display the name, and I want to add this, and this will be, there we go. So I will be writing, right now I will just write it as a Streamlit right, and then we can fix it to make it prettier. So we have name and ingredients. Good. So right now I will only type these two just to test out that Mongo is actually, giving information. Before we go and check if our MongoDB has information, we will go into a short break of 10 minutes, and then we will be back to finish our Mongo queries for the rest of our dashboard and to use our Llama models into generating um, you know elements. And finally we will deploy it in the last 15 minutes of the stream. Okay, so we're back from a brief break that we had. And right now we're going to basically continue with what we were doing. I'm just going to give a minute for the Twitch ad to stop popping up. Always remember to register for the stream in order to check in for this live session and earn your swag for the weekend. I left the link for this workshop on the chat so you can register, and we are also doing the exercises that are on my GitHub repo that I also sent with you. And right now, I will be uploading the changes that we made for the first query that we did on the different pages. So I'll just type in added query for recites in Mongo. So I'll confirm this. Yes. In case you want to pull the latest changes from the GitHub repo, you can go ahead and do that. So let's go back to the dashboard and see what we're missing. So right now, we wrote the code to make the queries from here and actually display information when we click on search. Right now, it will display an error because we are not, we don't have any element in our database. It is basically empty. And I think I also have an authentication error because I changed the password. I will get to it later. But right now, we're going to do the code to upload the information from our form into MongoDB. So let's go back and go into the recipes page. No, it was dish page. So we're going to go into the dish page. And remember, in the beginning, we added our credentials for MongoDB, and we also added the URI, and we created our Mongo client, we specified the database and the collection. So now we actually want to upload these variables into our MongoDB. So we want to do that when we click on the button. So once we hit the send recite button, we want to check if that information, this information, we actually have it. I am going to add more conditions in here to make sure that they also include the cook time and the, oh no, it is difficulty. Yep. And in here, we're going to send the recipes or the different fields that they created. So first of all, we have to convert our image into a format that is understandable by MongoDB. And MongoDB by default uses base 64 encoding, binary encoding. So for that, we have to convert our image data. So our image data, we're going to read our image, and then we want to return the image in case it has, nothing. If image, else none. Yep. And after that, we are good to go. So now we're going to create our document, and our document will be basically, all of the attributes for our recipe object that we will be uploading into MongoDB. I'm sorry, this has on here. Yeah, perfect. So in here, we are going to include all of the elements that we have. So we have name, and this will be basically the recipe name. Then we also have ingredients. We also have, I'm trying to see what else we have. Instructions. These are called the same instructions. We also have cooking time, or no, it's cook time. Cook time. So this will be cook. I don't see. Yeah, cook time. And finally, we have we have difficulty. And then we have the image. Yeah, that's correct. We have finally the image. And the image, we will upload the image data. Good. So now we created our MongoDB format, which is basically described that like here. And then we want to add this document into our MongoDB. So we want to insert it into our collection. And the collection is the one that we specified over here. Collection, you can see it in here. Collection DB recipes. So it will be collection dot, and then we actually want to insert what we created. So we just type insert, and we want to insert just one document. So it will be insert one, and then we want to insert recipe, because recipe is the document that we have over here. And once this is successful, it should return a success message. So this should be good to go. I'm going to upload it to GitHub in case you want to see it. Added publishing into this section. Oh, publishing. Good. So in case you want to follow up and fetch the changes, you can go ahead and do it. I'm going to return into my dashboard and reload this. And now we should be able to upload information. Oh, but first I have to fix the authentication error. That is because I changed my password. It is not like this anymore. It is 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, and then a J. If this is incorrect, I'll change it later because I forgot the one that I had yesterday. So that should be good. I will reload this. And I'm going to add tacos ingredients. We have meat, and we also have tortilla. Instructions, I will write cook nicely. I just want to, write random information. 50 minutes, difficulty, I'll leave it easy, and I will upload this image. It is just a random image that it is loading over there. And I will click on send recipe. Oh yeah, I got the authentication error. If you are doing it correctly, you should have it good. This is just because I changed my MongoDB password, but you should not encounter that issue. So I will go and change my password, and you can follow me through this in case you also forgot your password. You will go into database access into our MongoDB cluster. Then in here, you can see your username. For my case, it is this. I will click edit, and then I will go ahead and edit password, and I will type a new password. So I will do this. I will copy, and then I will click on update user. I will save this in case I forget. I'll just give it a second. I think it has already. Oh, it says we are deploying your changes. Let me see if they are already updated. Good. So it is done. I will go back to my dashboard and update this into my new dashboard. And let me see. We have another error. Yeah, just the bad authentication. Yeah, that is mostly because of the password. So I will type again. This one. Ingredient. Cooking. 1 minute. Easy. I will just upload a random image. And let's hope this works now. Good. Yeah, so it was a password. So you should be receiving the recipe was sent correctly. And if we go back into our Mongo cluster, remember clusters, then you click on browse collections. Now we should have our database created and our collection created. So in here we have recipe books, we have our collection recipes, and in here we have the element that we just uploaded recently. So if I go back to my dashboard and you go to the search section, you should now be able to search for things in here. So I will search like this, and now it brings me the name and the ingredient. I mean, you can start playing around with this and add more information to your database from this formulary. in order for the queries in here to be, more demonstrable for all of you. And if I leave it empty, then it would display an error. Please enter a search query, and it will basically bring me like all of the information from my database as default, so the user at least has something to view. So right now we already linked this form into MongoDB, and we already perform a query in here in order to display information from my database. So I will go ahead and insert another information. I will call these tacos. I will add tortilla and carne, then cook slow. Cooking time 70 minutes. That should be easy. And I'll add another random image in here. Nice. Send recipe. It is correctly. And let's go back to our search. And now search for tacos. And yeah, in here we are seeing in our query that it says tacos and tortilla carne as an ingredient. So apparently it is working correctly. And if I leave it empty, it will bring me the information that we have. So you can actually play around and make this display a little bit more appealing for the user using the things that we learned today. So now we are only missing to display all of our information in here on the recipes page, which is basically the last thing that we have to do for MongoDB. So to do that, we're basically going to go into our dashboard, and we're going to go to the recipes section, which is the one that we are missing to at the backend. We already have our credentials, URI, Mongo client, DB, and collection, and now we're missing to actually display information on my grids. So right now, I already deleted the recipes object, but I want to create it again. And this time, we will use the same format that we used on our search query. So in here, we use the list format in order to bring all of our information from my database. So you're going to go ahead and copy paste until ingredients. Oh, you know what? I'm just going to copy paste everything, and then we're going to clean it from there. So you go ahead and copy the recipes list. We're going to copy paste it in here, and you're going to delete the query information, because we want to find any element. We don't want to, filter it out. We just want to display anything that we can possibly find. And you're going to leave the query parameter just like empty. And why am I getting an error? Oh, I don't know why my VS Code is in Spanish. That is not very good. I mean, even if my main language is Spanish, I don't like my VS Code to be in that language. Yeah, so we don't want to display the ID because it is not very relevant to the user. I mean, the user merely wants to see like perhaps something more representable, like the name or the image. So we're going to leave name, we're going to leave image, and we're going to leave perhaps name, image, and yeah, I think that is pretty representable. I'm going to delete the other elements and just leave it like this. I'm just going to play name, image, and then after that, we want to convert our image to decode it from base64 binary format into something understandable for Streamlit to actually display the document of the image. So for that, I'm going to create a function that will be basically converting get image base64. And in here, we're going to put the parameter that will be our binary image format. Why? Because if we go back to our cluster, we see that the image, it is encoded in a base64 format, and we basically want to decode this into something that my dashboard can understand. So that's why I'm creating this function. And to do this, we're going to return the base64 element. Yeah, but I think I didn't import the module. of base 64. Yeah, so you want to import base 64. That is actually default from Python, so I believe you don't have to install anything. In case I am wrong, just run pip install base 64. So base 64 dot, and we want to go for the B64 encode. So it is basically this one, which is encode. And from there, we're going to pass the binary image, and then we want to decode it in UTF-8, which is basically the language that we are going to use. Good. So now that we have our function for decoding the image, now we want to display the name in here and the image. So to do that, in our column, we want to include the function. So we want to do image base 64 will be equal to the function get image base 64, and we want to pass on in here the recipe element that we also have to create. Recipe element, and we're going to filter the field that will be called image, as we did before on the previous queries. And once we have that, we want to convert this and pass it on the image source line, and we also want to replace this with the recipe name. I believe we should be good to go with this, as we don't need to do any more, hard coded information in there. We just want to leave it as recipe name, and we just want to leave it as recipe image. I believe this will not work, but let's test it out and see what happens. So I'll reload this and see what we get. So it's running, and yeah, it says invalid character error. So I think this is related to the encoding of the image. Sometimes that can be kind of piggy. So I'm just going to delete this line, and let me check. We have to decode it from base 64. So we have the image source, and we don't actually want to load it from here. We want to actually use the base 64 encoding. So for that, we have to specify that the data of that information will be basically an image, and it will mostly be GPG or GPEG. I'm going to leave this, but you can add more formats later on, and we're going to specify that it will be of type base 64. And then after that, you will basically add this, and then in here you have to add the base 64 variable that we decoded earlier. And once we have that, we close this. You can add an alternative text that will be the recipe, but I don't think it will be necessary. Just make sure to change this over here for that line of code. So now let's go back and test it out. Let's see. Perfect. Yeah, so apparently that was it. It was the base 64 encoded, and we now can see the two images that we have on our database. Good. So I will upload these changes to GitHub. Did base 64 to display images on dashboard, so you can see the changes. And now that we have completed our dashboard integration with MongoDB, we're going to go ahead and deploy our application. And if we have time, we will add the Llama model. That is pretty straightforward. So we should not take a lot of time, but I really want you to have this dashboard public. So I will give priority into that task before actually going somewhere else. So before deploying our application, we want to create the requirements file. For some of you who are not familiarized with requirements files, so in Python, we basically add our requirements files where all of our dependencies are included. So in case someone wants to use our application, instead of doing like pip install and all of the dependencies, they just install the dependencies that are in our requirements file. Requirements, yeah, it is well written. So in here, I'm going to add the different dependencies that we have. Streamlit is not necessary as we will be deploying it in Streamlit, so we don't have to add Streamlit. But I do want to add PyMongo. That is important. I want to add PyMongo. And I also want to add perhaps the urlib. So you go ahead and add PyMongo and also urlib. I'm going to publish this. Depend. Good. So good. So now that we have added our requirements file, we will go ahead and search a Streamlit Cloud on the web because we will be deploying our application. So you go ahead and start creating a Streamlit account into the Streamlit Cloud platform. I will do sign in as I already have an account created. Continue to sign in, but I will give you a moment. I will do it slowly so you can all get a chance to create your account quickly. I'll just this one. So I strongly recommend that you use the same account for your GitHub. I don't know why this is asking me to do it again. I mean, I will do it. I already have an account, but I think I have it with GitHub. Doesn't matter. I'll create it again. I haven't. No, I already. My app is ready to deploy. Mexico. Yeah, so just fill this out really quickly. State your country or region and state that your app is ready to deploy. As we already have it on GitHub, but it is not deployed, and we want to use GitHub and Streamlit Cloud to deploy our application. So we're going to click on continue, and you're going to see a dashboard just like this. Like you don't have any app created, and everything points out that we have to click on this button that says create app. So we're going to go ahead and click on create app, and we're going to click on connect to GitHub. Why? Because our app or dashboard, is on GitHub. So we want to use GitHub to deploy it. So I'm connecting right now to GitHub, and I want to deploy a public app from GitHub. You can use other platforms such as Snowflake. Actually, yesterday we had some technical streams from the Snowflake team. So you can also go ahead and choose that option in case you are using Snowflake. For my case and our case, we will be using GitHub. So in here, we actually have the option to deploy, any of my repositories that have a Streamlit. But in here, we actually have to paste the URL from our GitHub repository that I believe it was called Recitebook Data Week. So I'm just going to select that one. I want to deploy it from the main branch, and my main file path, it is called home.py. So you can select that. And in here, we will change the app URL, which is the one that will be basically like your domain name. So you want to have something, significant in there. So I'm just going to call it recitebook/MLH. And before we click on deploy, we want to add the secrets file that are basically our credentials. So if you already click deploy, don't worry, you can add this later. So in here, we're going to go ahead and return to our VS Code. And we want to copy the secret stone information that we have in here. So I'm going to copy this and I'm going to add it in here. Good. So I'll click save. And now we are ready to deploy. Good. So now the application will basically start loading. Most of the times, if we click here on Manage App, some errors might appear, and it's pretty normal, especially when, things like this, like error installing requirements. So it says that PyMongo, no matching distribution found for URL lib. So on that case, you have to return to your repo, and you don't have to go to the whole process again. Like for example, in my case, I forgot to add like a package version for URL lib, and I can just add the package version and commit into my GitHub, and it will automatically reload into this dashboard. So let me check for Python URL lib module to see what is the version that is installed. I don't see. So we no, this is a Python version. I mean, I don't think it's necessary to install it, so I will delete it from my requirements file and see what happens. So I will delete. Hold on a second. Good. So Chispita is back. She wanted to come in. So now that you made those changes and push them into your repo, then this should start going again. And I will click on where is reboot application, and I will click on reboot. Oh, apparently, please fix the errors. Now, so it is being deployed right now. It will probably give me some errors depending on the dependencies that we missed. I think it is good. Let's just check that everything is working. So as you can see, this is currently deployed. So if I share this application with you on the chat, you should be able to see it. And if we navigate to the different sections, let's see if everything is working correctly in case we have to debug any potential issues. So we're seeing our Mongo queries are working because we are seeing the images and the names. We also see that the form is up and running. And let's see if this is working. Tacos search. There are no matching results. Oh, and now it pops up. Tacos and tortilla carne. So it is good. So now our application is deployed, and you can share that link with anyone. I will go ahead and update this on my repo so you can also access it in case you want to do it later. So if any of you had the chance to deploy their Streamlit application, it will be really nice that you share it with us in the chat, because that will mean that you were able to complete the main exercise from this technical stream, and I will be really happy. But well, in case you haven't and you're still encountering some issues, you can also ask in the chat, and I'll be promptly, responding to you. So now on the repo, I already added the Streamlit application in case you want to see it and perhaps, get a little bit inspired from it. And now that we have 20 minutes left, we're going to go ahead and try to implement the LLM into our Streamlit application. So to do that, we're going to take a really quick shortcut into implementing LLMs. So one of Streamlit's advantages is that it is basically built for building data science applications. So I just search Streamlit LLM, and it just pops up. Build a basic LLM chat app. So even Streamlit has walkthrough examples on how to build these types of applications. And you can actually, go to a live demo into their page and type hello. And it says, hi, how can I assist you today? So this is just like a GPT wrapper that Streamlit has. And it has many nice things. And we're going to take advantage of this and just copy paste the code from their chatbot app. I'm trying to find one that I like. Nice. So this should be good. So right now we're going to use this OpenAI model, and then we will change it for it to be a free model for you to deploy in case you don't have GPT keys. So let's see, display assistant response. Good. So we're going to copy paste this code. I'll share the link first with you on the chat so you can view the same page that I'm viewing right now in case you want to copy the same code. So we're going to copy paste this, and then we're going to go to our VS Code. Where is it? Here. And we're going to create a new page that will be called, oh, I'm sorry, I remembered yep, it was like that. So I'll just leave this, and I'm going to call it chat.py. And I'm going to paste the information, and now let's see. I want to tell my AI to generate responses. Prompt. Nice. Looks good. And I'll just copy paste the second part. Let's go ahead and do that. So there is much more to it to explain right now. I mean, the purpose of this technical stream is to use Streamlit to build your application. But on the next stream that I will have, I think it is called Building Mongo DB Applications. We will be using a vector database in order to get a little bit more in depth with LLMs. Right now, I am just trying to do a quick setup of an AI chatbot for you to have it in your application. But I promise you, on my next streams, we will get more in depth into what an LLM is and how can we integrate it more complex into MongoDB. So we can actually change this. We can add, more instructions to our LLM in here, and basically tell him like, hey, you are an LLM model, and you're going to be generating recipes for the users, which is basically what my assistant is doing. But for now, I just leave it as default. Let's just install the OpenAI model and also add it into our requirements file. So I'm going to go ahead and do pip install OpenAI. Now it's installing, and I'm going to add it into my requirements. Let's just look if it has been updated. Yeah, this is a local one. So chat. Yeah, so I have to create the OpenAI key. Let's go back to the example, copy paste the same. And if you have an OpenAI key valid, you can use it. In case you don't worry. We will change this to be a llama index thing later in case we have some remaining time. So let's reload this, and I will generate my OpenAI keys, but just give me a second for me to log in. Yeah, and we also want to display these OpenAI keys into our secrets, because we don't want everyone to be in the oh, am I logged in? I don't think I'm logged in. Let's do it again. Let's see. Good. So now I'm logged in. API reference. Thing is dashboard. Here we go. API keys. And let me just create a new one. I am creating it right now. Good. So we will go back into our Streamlit dashboard, and I'm going to copy paste this into there. Tom, and I will paste this over here. Good. So now there it is. It should be working now. Wait, here we go. Reload. Did you forget to? Oh, I didn't add it as a. Just hold on a second. I have to put it inside, the double quotes. I just copy pasted it just like that. Shouldn't be like that. Just give me a moment. I'm trying to make this better. And having many monitors is not actually being useful for me right now. Open AI key. Yeah, so this is weird because I actually have the API key is correctly. So it definitely doesn't make sense. Let's see if we run it again, if it is working. Streamlit run home.py. Let's see. Localhost. Perhaps I need to commit in order for it to load. Sometimes that can be it. Secret has no open. Did you forget to add it? I mean, I actually added it, so I'm not sure why is it not working. Open AI. Oh, more information. Let's try to commit this and see if in the actual application it works. So added OpenAI example chatbot. Nice. So right now you should be able to see the OpenAI changes on my GitHub page. And we will get more in depth in this in the next live stream session where I will also be using MongoDB, and now we will actually be more in depth into what an LLM application is for it to be working. Chat. Let's see. ST secrets. It's getting the same error. Did you forget to add it into your secret phone? Oh, yeah. So let's add the key. Where is it? Documentation settings. We need to add it into our secrets in here. So OpenAI key, and then I'm going to copy paste this again. Hold on, I just don't want to, publish my API keys into a live stream YouTube session. That's why I'm just moving the screen. Not because I don't trust you, just because this will be basically, like public in YouTube, so I don't want it to be like filtered in case, someone has like bad intentions and all of that. So just give me a moment to copy the actual key into our Streamlit application, and we should be good to continue. I mean, another thing that I'm thinking right now is that I will check my OpenAI balance, because probably I don't have more I don't have tokens, so maybe even that's a reason why it's not working right now. But let's see. I will click on reboot, or did it upload it? Let's see. Click on reboot app, reboot. Let's see. And In case that doesn't work, then we'll search for another alternative. I'll go through the example that we were following to see if we missed something. No, I mean, we have everything. We have the OpenAI API key, and we also have basically this. Here's what we can replace. Oh, there's a full code sample in here. So I'll just copy this code sample over here. And I'll go to my, whoops. It was in the chat section. Nice. So I'll commit again. Data chat section. Hopefully that will get it running. Maybe something was not correct. Maybe that example was not correctly copied or I missed something. Let's go back to our application. Reload this. Oh, I'm still getting the same error. Well, let's see if the deployed one has another mistake over there. And let's see if I actually have balance on my OpenAI account. Where did I check that? Usage page. Let's see. Yeah, I think that is the issue. I don't have any OpenAI credits. No, wait. I do remember. I remember going to Hack Harvard and they basically gave us like, yeah, here are my 55 credits. I was scared. I was like, okay, they basically gave out like $50 worth of OpenAI credits. Like, how would that end really quickly? That just doesn't make sense. Usually OpenAI keys last like a long time. Like I used to just pay like $5 of OpenAI credits and that was enough. Like that was enough to get me through like 1 year worth of coding. And also, if you create like a new account, they give you like $5 for free worth of credits. So in case you want to do this chat competition thing, you can go ahead and create, the free account, and it should give you the free tokens. So let's see if it is working. And in the meantime, let's see if we can find an open source model from Hugging Face. So Hugging Face free and light LLM model. Let's see, open LLM leaderboard, best models. Seems like I have already seen that one. How to use an open free from. Nice. So this should be free. Let's go and see if we need things. I mean, looks good. We don't need many things. We can even run it from a dashboard. This is actually nice. Let's see the status of our app. It's still loading. Nice. So let's continue seeing the example. Let's try to start running this. I will share this with you on the chat in case you want to follow it through. And let's test this out. Let's see. Oh, you want to delete the exclamation sign because apparently this is for Jupyter notebooks, but as we are running it from the regular terminal, you have to delete the exclamation sign from the commands. So just copy paste them without the exclamation command. This is actually extra. Like, you don't have to do it if you don't want to. Like, I will be doing it while we wait for our application to deploy, because it is taking a long time, and so we don't waste time, I will be trying the Hugging Face alternative. So usually all of these dependencies actually take more time to load, as they are AI related. Everything that is AI related usually takes a long time. In the morning, I was trying to test different open source models for you to test into this section, and I was using one that was pretty like straightforward. But then I looked at the size of the model, and it was like 15 gigabytes to download. So I was like, okay, I'm not going to let my hackers download like a 15 gigabytes file into their computers. That's just not good. And especially in these types of events, like, we want to present things that are free for people to use, as everyone loves free things. So it is always good to have free tools to use. Yeah, OpenAI is basically a really nice perk. Sometimes in hackathons they tend to give out credits for free. That is usually the reason why I have like a $50 balance. I definitely did not spend so much money on those credits they were given in a hackathon. So it's always nice to see what cool and free things and tools you can get from these types of MLH events. Let's see. It shouldn't take more time. It is almost good to go. Let's see the status of our application. Still loading. Yeah, it is taking a long time to load. That is weird. Well, let's go back. This is still loading. Let me use another terminal to install the other thing that we have pending. But apparently it's not letting me do anything. Yeah, PyTorch always takes a long time to install. It is nothing normal. No, it is something normal. I'm sorry. Good. So I'll leave that running. I'll refresh this. I think it lagged. Or on the other case, I will access the link and see if it is actually published. Let's see. I will access it from a incognito tab to see if it is up and running, or what do we have in there. Yeah, it says that apparently it is sleeping. But well, time is running out. So I will leave the application to continue deploying. And by the end of today, which means like 5 more hours, the application should be good to go, because I will go and grab a snack, and then I will finish up this application for you, in case you want to visit it later and give it a check on the repo. It will be public, so you actually see how the chat thing was implemented in there. So we also have more streams coming up. I will be giving a total of 7 streams. We already had the Streamlit part number 1, but we also had the Streamlit part number 2 today. And I will also be giving 2 more streams. Let me just check the timing. You can go ahead and check it on the Global Hack Week schedule. I will share it with you on the chat in case you want to see the other streams. Let's add. Yeah. Thank you so much. I apparently seeing people from Mexico in here. You can enter also this link in order to see the more events that we have prepared for you. So for day 3, I will be giving the Hack with MongoDB part 1, where we will be getting more in depth into building LLM applications using MongoDB and vectorized data sets. So it will be a bit more complex, and we have another part for that one too. So it will be a 2-part stream where we will be building our LLM app with MongoDB. So if you're interested in building AI applications, or you want to learn how to integrate it with MongoDB, you definitely don't want to miss out that one. And then I will also um, be giving another set of streams that will be called Quick Database for Hackathon Projects. So that stream will be basically a set of tips and hacks that you can use when you are presenting your hackathon project to the judges or to the evaluation team, and you just want to have a nice setup dashboard with all of your data visualizations. So if you're interested into finding like nice tips and tricks, you definitely don't want to miss that stream. But yeah, thank you very much, everyone. I will see you on the next stream, and definitely stay tuned. And never forget to checking into your streams and mini events, because that remember that always gives you points. So yep, see you everyone. Bye.